Welcome to this Rochester Sentinel webcast. I'm editor Bill Wilson. Today we're talking with Mark Rodriguez. He is interesting to Fulton County people for at least two reasons. One is his successful software business, and the other is his presidency of the Fulton County Commission. First, some personal information: age, where you went to high school, other education, wife, kids.
Well, I'm 55 years old. I grew up and was educated in the northern part of Cass County and attended Caston High School, graduated in 1973. My wife is Gail Rodriguez, and she's a Lebo. She has lived and resided in Fulton County her entire life, and her mother, Nancy Hopper, and her father, Gordon Lebo, are both lifelong residents of Fulton County. We have 3 children. They're all grown, and we have 7 grandchildren.
Wow. And you were a Marine?
Yes, I was. I actually enlisted in the Marine Corps on a 2-year voluntary enlistment back when they were still drafting, or at the end of the draft. And
was that right out of high school?
Yeah, just May, the month I graduated from high school, I went into the Marine Corps and served 2 years and was discharged as a Sergeant E5 after 2 years of service. After serving during the Vietnam era, however, I was stationed predominantly here in the States.
What was your duty assignment?
I was what was described as a legal clerk. I was actually an aide or an assistant, administrative assistant to the staff judge advocate on the East Coast. I served for the staff judge advocate for the Atlantic Fleet for the Marine Corps.
Why'd you get out?
Well, I always had the ambition to be a state trooper. My father was, my stepfather was a state trooper. I thought
that was Don Smith.
Don Smith, that's right. Always had the desire to go into law enforcement, and at that time the state police went into a freeze and were not hiring people when I came out of the Marine Corps. I was just short of being 21 years of age.
You became a sheriff's deputy.
That's correct. Under Bob Nugent's administration, Bob hired me as a deputy. I was actually, they had to obtain some waivers from the county commissioners to hire me because I was only 20 years old, and I had 4 months to go. It was in August of '75. And so
what did you learn about county government when you were a deputy?
Well, I think that was my introduction to what some of the responsibilities are, some of the ways people are paid, basically the structure of how an employee interacts within county government at that point in time.
Then you were a probation officer and head of the department?
That's correct. I had a short period of time that I was out of the government sector for about 3 years, and then came back into being a probation officer. Douglas Martin appointed me, and I went to work for the probation department in Fulton County for I don't know how many years, several years, and then I actually worked in Kosciuszko County for 4 years, and then returned back as the chief probation officer for Fulton County. In total, I was involved about 15 or 16 years in probation.
I'm interested in how paperless business solutions came about. Where did you come up with the idea?
Well, it was that venture over to Kosciuszko County. About the time I arrived on the scene over there, they were introducing the various technologies to courts and to probation offices, and I kind of found my way into being the guy that people would go to help with implementing and running those systems. When I came back here, Fulton County had began an endeavor to electronically or computerize their system, and one thing that I had noticed that the probation departments were not getting a lot of usability out of those systems. They were good data collection, but we could use very little of the data. So I began designing my own system to be able to collect data, but not only collect that data, but to be able to use that data for the various tasks of writing letters and making reports to help support some of our efforts. So that's where the idea, and I used some first generation softwares that were out there, actually the first introduction of Windows, Microsoft Windows.
So what was it like to take the plunge?
Well, I
I
actually left my job with the possibility of joining a group of individuals who had, this was back during the period of time when I believe the internet and many of these internet-based companies and software-based companies, a lot of investment was being made in that area. And I actually joined a group, and much like a lot of the groups that started up at that time, for reasons beyond, even though I was a principal in the company, that only lasted about 4 months. And therefore it's time to either sink or swim, and I decided to swim for a while, and I've been doing that about 13 years now.
So what are your core products?
Okay, we make, our core product is providing a software solution that helps manage people who are on community corrections, that the court for one reason or another has placed them into the community, or they've been to prison and returned back to the community. And the purpose of our software is to help manage those efforts. We provide a solution that tracks drug testing, it tracks participation in a variety of kinds of programs, from substance abuse to programs called Thinking for a Change, tracks the reporting histories of their participation in intensive and outpatient programming. We have a data collection aspect of this that tracks their financial obligation and provides receipting and bookkeeping. And so it's a multi-threaded, multi-integrated system that allows probation to do all of their tasks and collect their data for all their various. And beyond probation, we service drug courts, community corrections, which is primarily house arrest, day treatment, work release centers, and we provide all that software solution.
So how fast did you grow?
Well, it's been a slow growth. I started in the basement of my home, and for about the first year it was by myself, and then after that I had Lisa Swope, who's a local person, and we have done that now for Lisa has been with the company now since 1997, and we have really followed a model that our first and foremost important thing is that we provide a good quality service to our customers. Financial growth hasn't been terribly impressive, but I'm more than glad to talk about all of the good relationships we have with our customer, which is pretty uncommon in the software industry.
Okay, let's take a quick break now.
All right.